Cool. So we are doing the webinar on incidents today and facilities. Maybe a few of you are interested in the facility side of things. We're going to be launching the facilities functionality this afternoon after this webinar, which is pretty exciting. Look, just the usual stuff. Chat is for chatting, which you're all doing, saying hello. Awesome. If you have a question, don't use the chat, use the Q&A. And then I'll go through the Q&A. I am on my own today, so be patient. We've got an event on today that a lot of our staff are at. So I decided not to go to the event, which meant I had to do the webinar, which is fine. I do all the webinars anyway. Look, question everyone always asks is it going to be recorded? Yes, we record all the webinars and we always email it out to everyone who registered. So yeah, don't stress. We'll definitely be sending this out. So look, I'll just share my screen in a sec again. I guess I just wanted to reiterate what we're going over today. So we've got our new functionality with incident management. So we can create an incident form that will then, when a staff member fills out that form, it will then create an incident ticket automatically. This is going to enable you to make sure that you're monitoring an incident from the moment it's reported until you've either reported it to the NDIS or you've resolved it and you've informed stakeholders and everything like that. We're also going to be going over facilities management and how to be able to create shifts assigned to a facility. So we can create a facility, assign it to a facility, and then there's a new view in the scheduler where you can actually see the facility as an overview, as one sort of view where you're only looking at that facility, which is kind of cool. That's something that quite a few people have been asking about recently. So yeah, let me get my screen sharing and we'll get started. How's that? Cool. All right, let's start with forms, because forms are how you're going to report the incident. I'm going to really take it back to basics and really sort of go over how staff can report an incident. So currently there's two options in terms of reporting an incident. One is to use our old well, they're not really old. It's just one of the original ways to do it, which is in account and settings, you can set up your global headers and you can have, there's one called an incident here, and then you can put headers in there. And then if I have the app open, which I'll open it now, I can then go in and yeah, I've got to have a shift. Let me create a shift first. So I can then go into that shift and I can click on progress and hit plus and hit incident. And so that's showing those headers that I have. That's the original way that we had people to report an incident, and how most ShiftCare users use ShiftCare to report an incident. What we're going to be going through today is using forms, which is the new premium feature that we have, and then that will then flow into incident tickets from there. So forms, the way that you go with forms is you go to list. Probably most of you have seen forms or had to play with forms before. We have a bunch of templates in the system that are custom, that are created from us to give you examples. Look, I think with an incident report, I think you're probably better off using our template as maybe just a bit of a rough example and some of the things that you could put it in there. It is a very detailed report, and I think you've got to find that balance between getting the information you need and also making a form that's going to be filled out by your staff properly, because if you go too in depth and you do too much, they're not going to fill it out properly. So I think, yeah, I would, my recommendation would be to create a new form that you create from scratch using examples of what's in our template plus what you're currently doing, and then do that. The other thing, it's really important with the new link to the incident tickets that you do create a new form, that you don't use the existing template. So definitely use the incident report template that we have as more of an example, but don't actually use it. So what I would say is you go up to new form up on the top right. When you're creating a form, it asks you what type of form it is. So is it a regular form or is it an incident form? And this is part of this new functionality that we added in. So it's important that you select incident form here, because yes, it's going to create an incident ticket straight from the submission of the form. All right, so building a form, you might have watched my webinars before on how to build a form. Pretty straightforward. You can click and drag elements over to the form. Now you probably notice here that there's two elements that are already in here. These are required elements at the moment based on the fact that we chose it to be an incident form. I'll cover that in a second, but what I'll probably, just a rough idea, incident report. And so you put a header in, and then you might start putting some questions in, who was the client, all that kind of stuff. And you can make fields required, and then you can put in all the other things. Other things to note, you can put in annotated image, which I really like, because if you can get an image that is like a drawing of a person, you can have the outline of a human body, and then on the annotated image, it could be circle where the injuries were or something like that. I think that's really cool because they can draw on top of the image, which is awesome. You can have a spot for them to upload any files if they want to. You've got date and time inputs. But let's talk about these sort of two fields that were required, plus also any other forms that are any other fields that are these system elements that are added as well. So look, these two are required because what happens when this form is filled out is it's going to create a ticket in the ticketing system. Now, one of the things when you're creating a ticket in the ticketing system is that there's two required fields when you do that, which is ticket name and ticket description. And so that's why they've put that in the form, that it's got ticket name and ticket description there. And that's why it's coming up. Now, my struggle with this is that staff probably aren't going to know what ticket name and ticket description means. And so it's sort of a little bit difficult with this. We are making changes based on feedback that we're going to allow you to rename these if you like, but we're also going to allow you not to just not put these in there, and it'll just automatically create a ticket called incident report and then the date and the name of the client. And then a ticket description will just be incident form filled out, and then you can come back later when an admin staff comes in and put it in themselves if they want to. So that'll be your options. You can either do that. But for now, what my suggestion would be is that you add a text box above the ticket name, and then you just say below, put client's name into ticket name, and brief description into ticket description. Just so the staff know what they're supposed to put in these two fields. That'll probably get you by for now. All right, so we've built out a form. Let's pretend that we've built out the form all the way through, and then you go to next. Now, the assignment side of things. This is the part that's probably one of the most confusing parts of ShiftCare at the moment. Is that you, with a form that's a shift related form, you do not need to assign it to anybody. This assignment section is referring to if you have a form that you want to send to a customer or send to a staff member and say to them, hey guys, I've got a form here, I need you to fill it out. That's not what a shift related form is. A shift related form is a form that sits in the system and it's available for staff while they're on a shift, and they can fill that form out if they want to during the shift. And so it's really important that during this step that you don't assign it to anybody. I'm just going to put in incident report as the name. Now, here it's got multiple response and private responses. So multiple response, obviously, yes, we're going to allow multiple responses. Private responses, what this means is with shift-related forms, can the other staff, when they're on a shift, can they see anybody who fills out responses on this? I would say for an incident report, most of the time I hear from providers is that they don't want other staff to be able to read incident reports. So in that case, I would leave this as toggled on as a private response. And then if it was, because you might use forms to do progress notes and things like that, I would probably turn that off for progress notes. But yeah, for an incident report, we will probably put it onto private responses. All right, so I don't assign it to anyone. I've got it toggled for multiple response, private responses. I'm going to hit publish and send. It's going to say, hey, you're not sending it to anybody. That's okay. I'm just going to save it without assignment. That's fine. So now we've got this incident form ready to go. Now, the next step that you need to do is you need to assign that to clients that you want to be able to have on their shifts. So shift-related forms requires you to assign the forms to clients. So what you need to do is you need to go into clients and you need to come down to the associated forms section here, and you need to hit attach form and then hit incident form and hit save. Now, if it was a progress note that you were doing, you could make it mandatory. That is a question people ask, how do I make progress notes mandatory? You can do it through forms by doing progress notes. And you hit save. Now, when you add the form to the associated form, it is going to update existing shifts and add the incident report to all existing shifts for that person, but it'll also add it to any new forms as well. So if we go manage to any new shifts, so if I go manage and add a new shift, I might even just go back to the scheduler and we'll just go to this shift, to this form, to this shift, and I'll just get rid of this shift, and then let's create a new shift for today. So Brad Pitt, let's do 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Let's put Android carers on there. If we go to advanced edit, we'll see down in the shift related forms that incident report is there, and it's been added to the shift automatically. So we'll hit save. That shift now exists. And so from a perspective of the carer, now when the carer is going to go to a shift, let's refresh. So I'm on the shift, an incident's happened. I need to report this incident. You click on there, you click on shift related forms down the bottom, and then here's the incident report ready to go. And so we hit respond and we go through and we fill it out. Cool. So we'll put a description in. We'll put the name, oops, double D, and we'll submit that. So that's now submitted a form response. So the form response now exists. So if I go into forms and list, I'm going to be able to see that there's been a response received for this incident. And then I can see it here and I can click on it and I can read the form. So it still exists as a form response, of course. And if I go into clients and I go into list and I go to Brad Pitt, I can go down to forms and I can go to activity logs, and I'll be able to see that there's been a response as well for the incident report. And I can export that to a PDF, and I can export any form. So if there were 10 incidents in the last 2 months, I could export them all to PDF as well. So you can send out reports to support coordinators and stuff like that, and plan managers. So that's how the form side of it, the form has been filled out, the form exists, but also what will happen is if I go to incidents and tickets, there will be a ticket that's being created. So this is a ticket, and this is the part where, okay, we've had the form filled out and we've got that stored and we have that available for auditing and stuff like that. But the ticketing is what's going to say to your admin staff, okay, there's been an incident raised. You need to deal with this. Do we need to report it to the NDAA? Do we need to follow up with stakeholders, inform parents, inform support coordinators, stuff like that? That's what this is for. So that's what this ticketing system is all about. So once a ticket's created, you can go into the ticket, and it's really good idea to give it a once over and make sure that you're happy with all the statuses and the priorities and the category and everything like that. So there are 5 categories. They are based on the NDIS's categorization. The reason why we created as a category 1 is because it triggers off emails, and I'll go over the emails and how that works. But a category 1 ticket being created triggers off an instant email to a group of people, and that's really important, right? To make sure that we know who's got all the that an incident ticket's been created. So that's the category. You could probably come through and just look at reading the report. So you can read the incident form here, and you can go, okay, look, yeah, that's not too major. I'm going to put that as a category 3. Who's the assignee? So who's the staff member that's going to action this ticket and finalize it and make sure it's all done? So I'm going to assign that to myself. Who was the involved staff member? So the staff member was Android carer. The client was Brad Pitt. And actually, I just realized I forgot to mention those fields in the form. I'll come back to that later because, look, I'm not a big fan of, if you do add this to the form, it actually shows your whole list of all your clients and your whole list of all your staff and everything to your staff when they're filling out the form, which feedback I've had is that most people aren't crash hot on that. So most people will leave these out and just do these manually. Status, so I can say, yeah, it's in progress. Priority is, this is a pretty high one, and I want to have this all resolved by, a couple of weeks. Private mode, what that does is essentially hides it from Android carer so that he can't see it in the app, because in the app you can actually see incidents that you're as a staff member involved in the incident section. I have it hidden from my app, but your staff will be able to see it. So private mode just means that Android carer cannot see it. And also they won't get emailed with any ticket update descriptions as well. So most people probably would turn on private mode. So I've updated that ticket now. That's all got that info in it. And so from there, you would follow through with putting any updates to emails or phone calls that you've made, reporting to the NDIS. So if it hasn't been reported, it'll look like this. If you have reported it, you can edit it and say that you have reported it to the NDIS. And then you can, do your normal work, say that you've resolved it, and hit save. And so that's the ticketing system all the way through. I might just circle back on that form, and I might even just go through a few questions because there are some, and then we can sort of continue. That'll probably lead us to where we want to go next. Jordan's asking, how do I access templates? Our premium ShiftCare doesn't have any templates. Yeah, sometimes the templates don't auto-populate. Just send through a support ticket or use the live chat and just say that you need your templates populated, and we can do that. No dramas. Where do I find the new forms? That may be asking the same thing. If you can't see forms on the left-hand side, like even if you can't see the menu at all, it means that you're not on the premium plan. Forms is a premium only feature. So definitely reach out. We can put you on a trial if you want to try the premium features for a little while. Just email cs@shiftcare.com, and they can help you with that. When a ticket is created after the incident form is submitted, does it create an incident number? Look, I don't know that it has a number per se. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's got a ticket ID up the top here. So that's probably the number that you're referring to. I think that'll be included in the exports and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess there is a ticket number. Is it possible to edit a form once published? Look, that's a good question. No, you can't at the moment, which is a bit of a bane in my existence, but you will be able to soon. We're putting in a development work to be able to edit a form because it's getting a bit unmanageable with having all those forms everywhere. Let me just mark these as answered. So no, you can't edit forms at the moment. Is there a procedure available for staff explaining how they complete incident forms? Look, I think essentially you'll want to look, short answer is no. Might be worth us filming a little video through the app on how to do that. But yeah, some internal training probably could take care of that. Once they know it's in the shift related forms, that'll be pretty straightforward for them to remember. But yeah, it could be a good little video that we'll make. Can we set the form to be automatically added for every client, or does it need to be added for each new client? Yeah, so the form does need to be added to each new client. Again, it's something I've raised, I think, especially for like an incident form and maybe like a global progress notes form that you might want. I'd love to see a setting that just says auto assign to clients. And that way, if you create a new client, it'll automatically add the form. But yes, at this stage, they do need to be added to each client's profile. What does a PDF look like when exported? Good question. Let's go through that. So responses received. You can click on it and you can export as PDF. Look, I think it just looks like it pretty much just looks exactly like this. Let's have a look. Yeah, that doesn't want to load for me. It definitely, let's have a look and see. I've been having some troubles with my download center, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bring that up for you at the moment. I'll wait and see if that populates again. But yeah, it's been playing up a bit for me, so I will come back to you on that though, because yeah, it will essentially look like the form. It's just in a PDF format. Can I answer live? Can I bulk assign forms to clients' profiles? No, you can't at the moment. You've got to go into each one. Yeah, it is a bit of a pain at the moment. Is there a specific format that shows the admin or manager response and showing steps that they have followed? No, it's pretty much just putting those so you go into the ticket and then it'll just show you all the previous ticket discussions. So you just update what you've done and how you've dealt with it. But there isn't like a checklist or anything like that, if that's what you're looking for there. Do you have to go through hundreds of clients and add the incident form to every client? Yes, you do at the moment. Again, it's something I am going to look at. Look, maybe Robert, send me an email about that. If you have got a lot of clients, I'll see if there's a way I can see if the devs can auto assign the form to clients. Maybe we can create something that can help for anybody that's got a lot of clients. Yeah, send me an email, paul@shiftcare.com. I'll look at that for you. Can you view response as a table CSV file with all responses in one spot? Yeah, well, with forms you can. So if you go to forms and list and you go to responses received, there is now a new viewers table summary, which will show you any responses that you've gotten and what yeah, in a list view, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's something we've just recently added. So you don't live. What does that look like using this method for instance as opposed to the older format? One of the most time-consuming sites generating data for reporting over 3 months period, where incidents behavior was at, were medication incidents. Yeah, so at the moment so I guess with the forms, you'll be able to export out the and you'll be able to view as a table form, and you could have one of the responses being what type of incident is it. The other thing with the incident ticketing is we do need to look at exporting out the ticketing system a little bit better. At the moment, it just gives you an overview of the tickets, but we will be improving the exporting of the incidents so that they will be in a CSV format, and you'll be able to. I guess it's all down to how you categorize your tickets and how you maybe how you put the names in them as well. So yeah. Thasal, hey Thasal, how are you? How would you suggest providers comply with the NDI's commission requirement to show risk assessment timeframe actions within the incident report? I guess it depends whether you're talking about the incident report or the incident ticket per se. So I would say within the ticket, you can put in the actions that so they could put it in as a discussion, and then from there then show on the export that you're going to do. If you want it to be as part of the incident report, which is a ticket, if you want to do it as part of the actual ticket, so the form that your staff fill out, I guess some of those questions they're probably not going to be able to fill out when they do it, but you just put it on the form and they would fill that out. But yeah, I think it would be about in the ticket having the staff fill out the discussion within the ticket so that it's there when you export it out. What's the advantage of using the incident ticket over the normal incident form? Well, the advantage of having a form that's an incident form that creates an incident ticket is that you're then ensuring that you're following up on the incident from an administrative and a NDIS guidelines point of view, and making sure that the incident has been reported to whoever needs to do it, versus you just forget, like the incident was reported and then you're sort of going to a third party system to try and remember to actually deal with the incident. So that's why I would be using the new form. Is the status menu, what's the difference between, in the status menu, what's the difference between resolved and closed? Look, I guess it's up to you. I think resolved to me is a ticket that I needed to take action and that I resolved it and it's all been done, versus closed might be, I don't need to do anything with that and I'm just closing the ticket down. But I guess internally it's up to you how you guys use the status there. Yeah, so one of the forms and one of the things I said I was going to mention and then I forgot to is when you're creating the form, you are able to add, the staff are able to set a priority, involve staff and associated clients as well. And so as part of them filling out the form, they're able to set a priority of the ticket. They're able to choose from a list of all the staff in your ShiftCare system and choose which staff were involved in this incident. And same with the clients, they'll be able to see a list of all the clients in your ShiftCare system and choose which client. So it just saves you doing that when the ticket gets created. Again, the feedback I've had is that a lot of providers aren't super keen on that because it shows them a list of all your staff and clients, which sometimes can be a bit of a privacy issue. All right, so look, obviously, and again, we have got a lot of work coming in forms and incident tickets. There are places that this is our first iteration in trying to make a transition from forms into incident tickets and being able to ensure that you're following those through and that notifications are coming through. Regarding the notifications, I said I would come back to that too. So in incidents and settings, you have got this section here, which is, it's really talking about who gets notifications and when. Now, currently it's not hugely customizable, and especially in this hierarchy of escalation, you can't change what this is. So what you need to do though is, so we've created every ticket that comes from a form as a category 1. And so that's going to then email, because of this hierarchy of escalation, it's going to email whoever's listed as a team lead. So you can come in here and you can say, okay, I need to get an email from this, so I'm going to put myself in there as well. And so these 4 people get emailed when a ticket's created saying, hey, there's been an incident ticket. Now, if none of those 4 people come in and update the ticket or do anything to the ticket, it's then going to email a risk manager, which will be another set of people that you may want to get emailed to say, hey, look, there's a ticket, needs to be looked at. And then you've got your 8 hours. Okay, 8 hours has gone by, nothing's happened. So let's let the next level of people know to make sure do that. Jordan, the system saying that does not have the option to add system elements. Is there a way to add this? That should be coming up if you're choosing, so it'll only come up when you're creating a new form and you choose incident form. That'll come up with those. If you choose the other type of form, it won't come up. So if that's not happening though, let support know or let me know and we can have a look. But yeah, that's how that comes up. All right, I'll wait a second to see if there's any other form and incident related questions. Otherwise, we might jump on to the facilities. Which is cool. Just waiting a sec. All right, so facilities. this is our new feature to obviously sills, sort of first and foremost in our mind with it. But you can use it for anything really. Can be, an aged care building. It could be, can be anything. So the way that it works is you need to create a facility. So you go to facilities on the left-hand side, and you guys will see that at the moment this isn't showing, but we're going to launch it this afternoon after the webinar. When you go to facilities on the left-hand side, there's an option to create a new facility. So you can give the facility a name. So Paul's house. You can put a description in a facility type. So is it a SIL? Is it a group home? Blah, blah, blah. Is it provider owned or rented? Look, before we even get further in where there's even more information, a lot of this at this stage is informational. So it's there as for you to have a sort of repository of information about your facilities, but it doesn't actually do anything within ShiftCare at this stage. Again, we're trying to get the first phase out of this, and then we're going to look back at it further. We just wanted to be able to have that view in the scheduler for people, because a lot of people are after that view. So yeah, you can put that in an address. Let's put something in. And with the address, by the way, we sort of started this first iteration of being able to actually move the pin, because we know that sometimes Google Maps doesn't quite put it where you want it to be. So you might look at that and go, well, actually, it's up here next to the Japanese pantry. And then you can put in a unit number. And then you can go submit. So that's created the facility. After the facility is created, you can add further attributes. So we've got facility attributes. Think of facility attributes like an Airbnb listing or a hotel listing with, like, does it have air conditioning? Does it have what cool things is there? Is there showers and baths and all that, fire extinguishers, yes or no? And so you can add attributes. Again, this doesn't display anywhere other than on this page. So it's just again, it's a place for you to build some information about your facilities. But in the future, we're hoping that this information will be surfaced in more areas. And then you've got your other details here. So you've got your operations closures, staff and teams. So you've got staff and clients that you can add to facilities. Look, that does put them at the top of the list when you're rostering from within the facility view in the scheduler. But Teams already does that anyway. So most people will already have Teams for their facility. So this won't be groundbreaking for anybody, but it is kind of handy. And then, yeah, the rest of it is all, again, at this stage, it's just informational. It's not going to do anything. And then you've got your sub facilities down here. So you may have a large building that you have a facility for, but then underneath that, you decide, well, actually, we're going to break it down into level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, because it's too big and you want to keep it all separated, or building 1, building 2, building 3. And so that's what that's for. You can have the sub facilities. Cool. So that's done. So now when I'm in the scheduler and I'm creating a shift, well, first thing you'll notice is that there's now 3 options. There's staff, client, and facilities. And so when you go into the facilities view, that's when you can then switch between the different facilities that you have. And when you're in the facilities view, it goes away from the concept of having clients or staff on the left-hand side. And what it does is it just shows you the whole facility in one view. So if I come in and start creating some shifts, so I might go, yeah, I need to create a 6 a.m. to, to the afternoon shift. So I can put the clients in just like usual that I would. But then one of the steps here is facility. And because I was in this facility when I created it, that is now showing on the shifts there. And so I might go 6 p.m. to 3 p.m., 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., repeat weekly. And I hit save. And so that's going to create the shift. It's going to show you on every week. It will, what will happen is if you have two shifts at the same time, it will split it open. It's kind of cool how it does that. So if I go copy, and maybe I'll make it a different shift for a different client. And I'll put a different carer on it. And I hit save. So it kind of breaks it up like that. So you can see that there's multiple shifts at the same time. It kind of, uh, yeah, it all views in one view, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's the advantage. That's the look. The This is the be all and end all with facilities at the moment. This is why we've started with the ability to create a facility and to have the facility view. We, when we're developing new features, we could try and put every single bell and whistle into it and hold it off for 6 months and keep building and building and building and then release it all at one time in 6 months' time. But instead, what we're doing is we've done the first iteration of it. We've created the ability to create facilities and to have a facility view. If that's good enough for you to want to use it, which I know some people, they're saying I desperately want a facilities view and this is going to be really awesome for them, then yeah, they'll use it. If you want to wait for more of the features to come out, then that's understandable. But that's all it does. So yeah, there's a couple of questions about, is there space to add details for maintenance requests and stuff like that? No, we don't have any of that. Who the property manager is and stuff like that. I don't think there's any space for that. And of course, we will love feedback from people about what they would like to see added and stuff like that. So that's a great option. Maybe if you go rented, you could add some options underneath to say who's the property manager and stuff like that. That's a great feedback on that one. Can support workers see this information? At this stage, support workers can't see any of this stuff. So this is all administrative side. But that's the plan. Absolutely, with our next run through it is, stuff like task lists and forms and stuff like that. At the moment, it still functions like normal, where it's all on the shift. So if you put a form on the shift, if you put tasks on the shift, they'll see it, but it's not based on what's in the actual facility at this stage. Yeah, that one answered. Can you schedule a facility from the staff client view? Yes, you can. I think, and that's probably one thing I need to mention as well. So first, yes, when you create a shift, it's still got the option to choose a facility, so that's no problem. And then you can switch to the facility view to see it. But what you can't do is edit existing shifts, and so this is going to be a bit of a pain for most of you who are using ShiftCare already. You can't edit a shift to add a facility. What you need to do is you need to copy the shift. And then when you copy it, you can add the facility to it. And then you would remove the previous version of the shift. So it would copy it from that moment onwards. But yeah, you would remove the previous shift that you had. It was just a technical limitation that we had to have it being made from scratch. So this could be something that you look at as you start creating new service agreements for SIL clients, that you start putting them on the facilities from this point. And another good reason why releasing facilities in its current state is good, because it allows you guys to be able to, for future shifts, add the facilities to the future shifts. And then as we add more functions in that, you will already have all the shifts in the facilities. So they'll be good to go, as you go. So it is something that we're working on over time. Yeah, look, the task list in the facilities, look, the idea is going to be, again, that within the shift, it'll grab the attributes of the task list, but at this stage, it doesn't do that. So task lists will be something that we're iterating on in the future. So yeah, I think the main draw card for facilities at the moment is this facility view. So the ability to have your facilities as a separate view and to be able to see that. And if you like the idea of that, then yes, it's worth adding facilities and putting shifts onto your facilities. And then we're going to be coming back during my monthly webinars where we're talking about what we're working on in the future. We'll be talking about the stuff that we're adding with facilities to make it even better into the future, and to use all that information that's on the facilities view. Cool. Any other questions? I can open up to any sorts of questions if anyone has any. Doesn't have to be about what we're covering in the webinar while you've got me, if you like. Got about 10 minutes before I need to move on. right, nothing coming through, but thank you everyone for all your questions and your feedback. Look, we do know that the facilities and stuff, it is a first, like I said, it's a first round. Same with forms and incident tickets, where we're trying to get, it's hard to go from A to Z and have everything exactly as we want it. We need to do it over time with coding and feedback and everything like that. So your feedback is important. Don't forget that we have got a feedback portal up here. So up on the top right, there's a light bulb icon, and you can go to feedback. And I am adding forms and incident management feedback, so you can vote on those feedbacks. And I'm in charge of this portal and everything like that. So, and I go to all the regular product meetings and I raise all the feedback that comes through here. So please do continue to use this portal. It's really important that we get good voting on these, so we know how that works. Can support workers see who else is on a shift? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's not really related to facilities, but yes, I think when you're on a shift, you can see who else is on a shift with you by clicking on your staff name. That's from memory though. Can you run through quotes? I probably haven't got time to run through quotes. I think I did a session recently on quotes, and if I haven't, it may be time to do a webinar on quotes. Let me check into that, and maybe I'll do a webinar coming up on quotes again if I haven't already. Otherwise, check our support, help.shiftcare.com. We may have quotes, a video on there for it. Within the attachments with the facility, could we add in the property agreements into that? Yeah, I would say that would, again, because that's like a central spot for information, that's probably a good idea. You could put that in there for sure. While using the check-in option on can the radius be a bit larger than the pin drop when checking in a client's resistance? The car park isn't always right near the check-in and says failed to location not correct. Yeah, look, that's probably worth though raising that we have added a new soft clock-in option for clocking in, because at the moment we previous had clock-in location check. When you enabled that, it forced that geofence at a kilometre around the shift. We've now added an option to allow clock in outside the location radius. And so if you toggle that on, it will allow them to clock in even when they aren't within the kilometre. It still forces them to share their location though, so they can't clock in unless they're sharing their location. And then you can get an email to tell you that that's happened. So when you go to list, and if I go to my own profile, there is no subscription email subscription notification categories for clock in out of range and clock out of range. So I would just turn that on, and that'll cover for situations like that, but it'll also cover when they're actually doing the wrong thing as well. So you can have a quick check and make sure everything's on the up and up. Our staff often forget to clock out. Are they sent reminders? So yeah, in the app, there is an option here for shift notifications that will send them a notification 15 minutes before the shift and 10 minutes before they finish that they should clock out as well. So they just need to enable that. Hey, Lydia. I think Chris is looking after that stuff because he's doing the Proda stuff, but I'll have a look through my emails and see. Thanks. There is a notification when they clock out telling them. So if you're using the old method, like the old going to progress notes and hitting plus and hitting progress notes, if a staff member doesn't add a progress note through that, when they go to clock out, it will say, hey, you haven't added notes. Are you sure you want to do that? And if you're using the new forms, you can make it mandatory so that they can't clock out. Having said that, though, I have been in talks about scoping out a feature that after 24 hours, it'll send an email to a carer that has completed it or that had a shift and no notes have been added, because yeah, it is pretty common that they forget, and the further it gets away from the shift, the worse the notes become because they don't remember what happened. So yeah, we are looking at a feature along those lines as well. Hey Gail, we have a support worker that keeps getting notifications that the shift will end in 5 minutes when he isn't rostered. That could be the only thing I can think of at the top of my head is that if you use ShiftCare for different providers and you log out and you log into a different ShiftCare, you still get notifications for your previous logins. So I'm just thinking whether that might be it, but you probably need to ask support about that. I'm not too sure. We'd have to look into that. I haven't heard of that before though. That's a strange one. Can I include the active hours in a sleepover shift, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. or 8 to 10, 10 to 6 should be separated? Yeah, look, at the moment you need to separate them. So 8 to 10, 10 to 6, 6 to 8. Having said that, that shift that you described is not a valid shift under the SHADS award. One of the shifts before or after the shift has to be 4 hours long. So it should be 6 to 10 or 6 to 10 in the morning. But yeah, they do need to be 3 separate shifts at the moment. We have found some staff put NA or full stop in each section. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that you can't stop people being bad at their job sometime. It's really frustrating when they do that. But at the end of the day, we can put all the reminders and alerts, but if they're going to do the wrong thing, they're going to do the wrong thing, unfortunately. All right, look, we might wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for coming. Hope that was helpful in some ways. Definitely feel free to use the ideas portal, email me, paul@shiftcare.com if you have any feedback or anything like that. It's all compiled and put through, and the devs are working super hard on a lot of features at the moment. So we're going to keep pushing that out, and hopefully we'll see some really good improvements on this stuff. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone.